Do you worry that this project is going to turn into a casino?
Well, it's certainly a question now.
It is the first of its kind in Georgia. Up to 425 gambling machines allowed under one roof. Channel 2 Action News has uncovered DeKalb County commissioners did not know about this land deal before going all in. Channel 2's investigative reporter Jody Fleischer is here now with the project's secret ties to a Native American reservation and a real casino. Jody?
Jovita, when commissioners first approved it, we heard from neighbors who just couldn't understand why anyone would stay at a resort in a blighted community just to eat dinner or play video games. So we dug into the records. Our search for the new landowner landed us on a Louisiana Indian reservation, raising questions about just who's gambling on this DeKalb development.
Who wouldn't want to stay in luxury like this? Designer villas, high-end restaurants, bars, and boutiques.
Are you talking about a paradise in the ghetto?
Some neighbors along Covington Highway just can't see it.
It don't make no sense.
Especially since the developer, APD Solutions, couldn't sell the brand new townhouses that are already there.
If no one wants to pay $180,000 to live there, why would you pay $180 a night to go to a resort on Covington Highway?
The developer says it's all in good fun.
Kind of an adult, high energy area which will have virtual reality and some other types of games.
Vaughn Irons says his barcade concept will create 130 jobs and bring more than $46 million in economic impact in the first year.
We're going to turn minds and people are going to find out something different than they believed before.
But records show the whole project may be something different than the commissioners believed when they approved up to 425 coin-operated amusement machines. That's the most allowed anywhere in Georgia by 3,000%. And 9 months before Irons got the development approved, he sold the land to a company called Red Alligator LLC, incorporated under the Tunica Biloxi tribe of Louisiana.
We were looking for the Red Alligator Company.
When we traveled to the Indian reservation, we found Red Alligator's business address right down the street from the tribe's main enterprise, the Paragon Casino. The tribe's vice chairman is the CEO of Red Alligator.
We're well known for our food in Louisiana. We're trying to bring that to DeKalb County. Great time, great entertainment.
Red Alligator paid $6 million for the land and says it cannot get approval to make it tribal or a full Indian casino with cash payouts.
Is there going to be a casino there?
No, casinos illegal in Georgia.
But even if you're just winning vouchers for a drink at the bar, a steak dinner, or lottery tickets, 425 machines is radical. Records show questions already asked of the Lottery Corporation, but no applications for licenses yet.
Looks like they're in the casino business rather than in the Dave & Buster's business.
Commissioner Jeff Rader says he did not know about the land deal with the tribe or its casino ties when he voted for the project. It was heavily backed by Commissioner Stan Watson, who's on the project payroll as a consultant, and Irons, who also happens to serve as chairman of DeKalb's Development Authority. Irons says he hasn't asked for any public money, and he's doubling down on DeKalb, not a casino.
I think that's a ridiculous notion. I'm not a gambling operator. I'm a very concerned citizen of the county.
Irons says he sold the land to Red Alligator to raise money to pay off his earlier investors so he could start over with this new project. But records show he would have lost the land a few days later in a tax sale anyway. He was behind about $175,000 on his property taxes.
And Jody, we well know that Native American tribes have a history in the gaming world. So is there any chance that they could use this to get around Georgia law?
A slight chance, but I should tell you, I've spoken with several experts. They say it would be really hard to get federal approval in this case since this tribe really has no history in our area. Now, there was a case in Michigan last year where a tribe opened a casino without approval and the state tried to sue, but then the U.S. Supreme Court sided with the tribe, so it's still a gray area.
Now, new developments. Tonight, DeKalb County commissioners have taken back their approval of a proposed gaming resort. This after a Channel 2 Action News investigation exposed questions about it. The Panola Slope project could have brought more than 400 gambling machines and a new resort to Covington Highway. But we uncovered information some commissioners did not know when they initially voted in favor of it. Channel 2 investigative reporter Jody Fleischer here now with how they undid it and what's next for the development.
Well, Justin, this is highly unusual. Commissioners first approved the development. Now they've used a technicality in the vote to go back and undo it. This will give commissioners another chance to really take an in-depth look at it all after we expose details like the land being sold to an Indian tribe in the casino business.
I don't support the proposed Panola Slope development.
Calvin Sims is just one of the neighbors who spoke up at Tuesday's DeKalb Commission meeting. He expressed concern about the proposed Panola Slope resort near his home, particularly details raised in our Channel 2 investigation.
Don't feel bad because he didn't disclose it to us either.
We found the developer, Vaughn Irons, who also chairs DeKalb's Development Authority, sold the land for the project 9 months before it was approved. The buyer was a Louisiana Indian tribe that runs a casino there, and a closer look at the DeKalb zoning approval would have allowed up to 425 gambling machines here.
I think we're back to square one with this project. We certainly know more about it now than we did when we voted on it.
Commissioners were able to undo their prior approvals because the project sits in District 5, which currently has no commissioner. DeKalb requires a yes vote from either the district where the project sits or the at-large seat. The at-large commissioner, Stan Watson, could not vote for it because he's on the developer's payroll.
The conflict that prevents one of the commissioners from voting on this is of the developer's own creation. So to that extent, it's a bed that he's now got to lie in.
Commissioner Nancy Jester asked for another review from Planning and Zoning and another public hearing when it does come back up.
I'm not sure whether it was incompetence or someone lied to us, but we clearly didn't have all the information.
Commissioners put Panola Slope back on their agenda for March 10th, but as long as the District 5 seat is vacant, they cannot vote to approve Panola Slope. So it's essentially on hold until the commissioners stop their political squabbling and fill the District 5 seat. Now, a spokesman told me the developer of the project was unavailable for comment.
You don't know the public answers. Is that what you're telling me? You don't want to hear the rest of our
No,
questions?
ma'am, I don't. You can talk to Mr. Vaughn Irons.
This county commissioner tried to dodge our questions about his relationship with a local developer. The developer got $1.5 million in contracts based on what now appears to be a phony ethics opinion. Channel 2's investigative reporter Jody Fleischer is here with the evidence she's uncovered. And Jody, of all things to fake an ethics opinion?
Jovita, the ethics board members we reached don't remember voting on it. The attorney who wrote it told me he's positive it was only a draft. And the developer who benefited from it isn't just politically connected, he's part of DeKalb County government.
This is the document that has everyone talking. Well, everyone except the man who profited from it and the county commissioner on his payroll.
Thank you so very much, okay?
We tried calling DeKalb Commissioner Stan Watson for weeks. He skipped meetings and has a no trespassing sign posted at his house. We wanted to ask about his relationship with a company called APD Solutions.
I happen to work for APD Solutions.
This was Watson at a meeting in Birmingham in January 2012. 3 months later,
all right, motion carries.
He voted to give APD Solutions a $1 million DeKalb County contract.
Can we talk with you for a moment?
We finally tracked Watson down after a community breakfast.
Yeah, but I'm a paid consultant for APD Solutions. I have been for the last 2 years.
Have you used your position at all to benefit APD Solutions?
No, I have not.
And seconded by Commissioner Watson.
In January 2013, Watson voted for APD Solutions again for another $500,000.
How come you voted on the APD Solutions NSP contracts if you were already on their payroll?
I remember doing it. If I did, that was a mistake.
I can show you the minutes.
Yeah, I saw the minutes as well. That was probably a mistake, and inadvertently, I may have done that. So I apologize to the citizen. Well, I don't know, twice. I apologize for the citizen for that. I didn't know I did that.
Watson did recuse himself on APD Solutions' latest vote for a casino-style development on Covington Highway. He denied having meetings on behalf of the project.
The Public Safety Director?
No, I have not.
Or with the Lottery Commission?
No, I have not.
But records show he did. He even emailed with the company's CEO, Vaughn Irons, about a proposed gaming ordinance. In an earlier interview, Irons defended the relationship.
We have a standard monthly retainer of a very nominal amount of about $500.
Irons doesn't see a conflict of interest, but then again, he doesn't see one with his own government job either, as chairman of the Development Authority.
We want to make sure there's not a perception of a connection.
The county attorney saw a connection and prohibited Irons from getting a contract in 2009. That's when Irons asked the ethics board to weigh in.
I remember feeling bad that we couldn't hear the matter because we couldn't get a quorum. And so that kind of delayed and delayed and delayed.
Former ethics chairman Brian Smith says the board never voted on it. The county sent Irons a letter telling him he was still ineligible. But 2 weeks later, this signed ethics opinion showed up. Irons bid and won.
All I know is that's my signature. And how it got on there, I'm not sure.
The attorney who wrote it says it's a draft. It's not witnessed, not dated, and was never filed with the clerk.
This wouldn't be considered valid.
Plus, the opinion number 15 is handwritten, and there's a different opinion 15 typed and filed.
How that comes about is just very baffling. That would just seemed ridiculous that someone would do that.
A spokesman says county staffers accepted it at face value.
Where did that ethics opinion come from?
We believe that it came from the vendor.
And it's too late to undo that contract.
But if a contract was awarded based on a fraudulent ethics opinion, isn't that something that needs to be investigated by the county?
It probably does need to be investigated by the county if that indeed happened.
And today we found out that's already in the works. The district attorney confirms he is looking into all of this. He caught wind of our investigation and has requested all of the same county records we did. Now, Vaughn Irons declined our repeated requests for an interview, but a spokesman says Irons never saw a signed copy of that ethics opinion and has no idea how it got to the purchasing department.
And Jody, if they're saying that this ethics opinion was just a draft, then how do you think someone was able to get to it?
Well, I did reach the attorney for the ethics board at the time. He told me it was normal for him to write a draft for the board members to read before they voted. He'd email them or he'd hand them out at meetings. And he agreed with the 5 board members we reached. Not one remembers a vote on that Irons opinion.
New at 6, the FBI is now investigating the very man who promised to get DeKalb County government back on track. A Channel 2 Action News and Atlanta Journal-Constitution investigation found the issue centers around sewage that backed up in CEO Lee May's home several years ago when he was a commissioner. Channel 2 investigative reporter Jody Fleischer live with details of how it should have been handled, Jody, and what May is saying about it.
Well, Justin, since we started asking questions and requesting records, Lee May has looked into all of this, and he now realizes that he was not treated the same way you or I would have been if raw sewage had backed up in our homes. Now, it's FBI policy not to confirm or deny the existence of an ongoing investigation, but all of the people we interviewed say the FBI has questioned them too.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Lee May says these pictures don't even do it justice.
It was literally raw sewage coming up through the toilet.
County workers came out to stop the emergency, but it destroyed drywall, floors, and baseboards.
A firm came out. I knew an individual.
That man was Doug Cotter. At the time, he was working for Water Removal Services, which was then owned by John Meyer.
Yeah, he was asked, this is a friend of mine, would you mind helping him out? So that is the only way this transpired. We never knew who Lee May was until recently.
Meyer's company sent out workers who made the repairs.
At the time, I thought he was paying for it. I just thought we were supposed to go out there and just take care of it for what it cost our company. It was around $2,500, I believe.
But 6 months later, Meyer still hadn't been paid, so his company sent an invoice directly to DeKalb County Purchasing Director Kelvin Walton.
Who normally would be the person to direct you who to bill?
Well, the person that owns the property.
The county has no record of an estimate or any reviews. Within half an hour, May's invoice was approved, and a check was cut the very next day for $6,495.
We were paid in full for the services we'd done. Even though we had a previous agreement, I thought maybe it changed, and now the county might have paid for it. I don't know. It was very odd.
Even more odd, DeKalb always requires homeowners to front the money after providing at least 2 estimates. The reimbursement is usually only 60 to 70%.
There were things that were done in the past that kind of was loosey-goosey at best, not following protocol. And then looking back now, I do understand that it was a different treatment than others had been given. I wasn't aware of that, nor do I think it's appropriate.
But the story gets even crazier from there. Now, his friend who arranged that cleanup went on to win hundreds of thousands of dollars in DeKalb County contracts. And when the former company owner checked his files, he found this check sitting in that folder. It's made out to Lee May personally for $4,000.
Absolutely. I planned on having a conversation to figure out what the hell was that was done. Excuse my French. But that is for someone to benefit off of my name, you know, that's inappropriate, it's illegal, and they need to be dealt with.
Now tune in tomorrow night at 6 to see what we've been able to track down about this check, who cashed it, what it was for. We'll have that for you tomorrow. You didn't worry that $4,000 would be seen as a bribe or a kickback?
This businessman says he delivered a $4,000 check to help a DeKalb County commissioner out of financial trouble. But a Channel 2 Action News Atlanta Journal-Constitution investigation found that businessman then went on to win hundreds of thousands of dollars in DeKalb County contracts. Channel 2's investigative reporter Jody Fleischer has been following the money trail. She's learned the FBI is on to this as well. Jody?
Jovita, this is that $4,000 mystery check. It's made out to then Commissioner, but now interim DeKalb CEO Lee May. He told me it wasn't a kickback to him because he didn't even know it existed. We know the check got cashed, but the big question is, who got all of that money?
Absolutely. I planned on having a conversation to figure out what the hell was that was done. Excuse my French.
The money trail surrounding this $4,000 check appears to end with one of these three men. Interim DeKalb CEO Lee May, the commissioner's former chief of staff Morris Williams, or businessman Doug Cotter.
Morris contacted me and said, Doug, Lee's having some financial trouble. Is there any way you can help him out?
May was a DeKalb commissioner at the time and had just filed bankruptcy. Cotter got the check from a water removal and restoration company that had just finished work at May's house.
It could have been a reimbursement check, yes, but it wasn't my signature on it, and I'm not sure how the check got out there.
Cotter says it couldn't be a reimbursement because the county directly paid for the work at May's house, nearly $6,500. But that $4,000 check was made out to Lee May personally 6 days later. Cotter says he delivered it to Morris Williams.
Why not give it to Lee if it was made out to Lee?
Good question, because I saw Morris more often. He's chief of staff.
But within a few days, he says he heard from Morris Williams again.
Morris asked me, Doug, is there any way you can cash this for Lee? I said, sure, I know both of them.
Cotter's family owns a liquor store with a check cashing business, and he admits he's the one who turned that check into $4,000 cash.
I handed that money to Morris Williams, and that was the last time I saw it.
I'm answering this very clearly. That is not a check that was cut to me. I've never received $1, let alone $4,000.
Records show 2 weeks after that check cleared, bidding opened on a new county contract for water removal. Cotter submitted a bid for the same company that had done the work at May's home, and they won the contract.
I never really wanted to participate down there to begin with. That's why we never took that contract. We just kind of backed out.
But Cotter still wanted it. In fact, 3 days before the bid, Cotter reserved the name for his own new company. Hawk Creek Restoration went on to make more than $300,000 in DeKalb work.
If it's a situation where a brand new company is getting work and they didn't compete after it, absolutely not. That should not occur.
But it did, and DeKalb County allowed it.
Did that $4,000 have anything to do with you trying to win that contract?
No. Lee had nothing to do with the bidding process.
Lee May says he also had nothing to do with that check.
It's absolutely not my signature.
Here it is next to May's actual signature. Cotter says when he got the check back from Morris Williams, it was already endorsed, and the M in May bears a striking resemblance to the M in Morris Williams' regular signature. Williams wasn't home when we knocked on his door. After 17 years with the county, he abruptly retired last month, just as the FBI began investigating this.
For someone to benefit off of my name, that's inappropriate, it's illegal, and they need to be dealt with.
Morris Williams declined our request for an interview by phone. He would only say Cotter's version of events, quote, did not happen that way. Williams said he did not receive that amount of money from Cotter, but he refused to comment when I asked whether he ever gave Lee May any money. The search warrants are trying to find any conversations between CEO Lee May and those two former DeKalb officials discussing county money used to clean up a sewage spill at May's home and allegations of what could be a kickback check from the company that did the work. Now, we first exposed both of those situations back in April. Records showed DeKalb County paid roughly $6,500 for removal of raw sewage and restoration work at May's home after a county sewage pipe flooded parts of the house. Now, May contends the county properly paid for the work, but he admitted during our interview that he did receive special treatment in getting immediate approval from the purchasing department and the county directly paying the bill without him having to lay out the money. Now, we also raised questions about a check we uncovered made out to Lee May for $4,000. It's written from the vendor who did the work at his home, and that company went on to win hundreds of thousands of dollars in DeKalb County contracts. Now, May told us he never received a penny of that money. The middleman who says he got the check for May told us it was supposed to be to help him out of financial trouble. Now, that middleman says he gave the money to former Chief Operating Officer Morris Williams to give to May. Williams is also named in these search warrants. The warrants went to the county's IT department, basically looking for emails from May, Williams, or purchasing director Kelvin Walton from the date of that sewage spill at May's home through the following year when the company won the contract. Now, the search warrants gave the county 10 days to hand over those emails. May issued a statement saying he has nothing to hide and that he's done nothing wrong. He's directed all county employees to cooperate with the investigation.
Disingenuous, dishonest, didn't pass the smell test.
Just one day after a scathing corruption report, Channel 2 investigates another fishy DeKalb County contract, and this one leads right to the CEO's office. The same CEO who's led a public call to weed out corruption says he won't investigate this case. The target of it is his right-hand man. We uncovered tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars funneled to a zoning official who has since admitted to taking bribes. Channel 2's investigative reporter Jody Fleischer explains how she unraveled it all. And Jody, this is one that those investigators didn't catch.
That's right, Aaron. We started investigating this one ourselves after Jeremy Clark was convicted of accepting bribes while on the zoning board. Now, records show he also made nearly $25,000 last year as a DeKalb consultant. And the CEO's right-hand man was calling it Jeremy Clark's contract before anyone else even had a chance to bid on it.
Oh, yeah, we were interested, right.
But you didn't bid?
Did not, no.
Lawrence King thought this DeKalb County youth outreach contract was a great opportunity, but he could tell the county already had someone in mind.
I wanted to hear them tell me what it was, and they couldn't do that.
That's because the contract really belonged to Jeremy Clark. In February, weeks before it went out for bid, the CEO's chief of staff, Edmund Richardson, was already emailing, quote, "What's the status of Jeremy Clark's contract?" He's told it's going out for competition next week.
Should anything be referred to as a person's contract before it's been bid?
Clearly not.
The county's new purchasing director wasn't there at the time, but says the chain of events that followed was equally questionable. The county ended up canceling the bidding in March, but within days, Clark submitted his first invoice for $4,000 using that canceled bid number.
Clearly, the focus was on that individual and getting that individual here at work.
There was no signed contract, and when finance told Clark to get a payment number from his boss, Clark instead forwarded it to Richardson, asking, "What are we going to do about this?" Clark got paid from March through August and even threw in a February invoice 5 months late, which Richardson also approved. We found no emails between Clark and his supposed boss in February or March. And in April, Richardson was told to ask the youth programs director exactly what she wants Clark to do.
Disingenuous, dishonest, didn't pass the smell test. I mean, it's just not right.
Last September, the county hired Clark at Richardson's direction. He made another $16,000 before getting fired earlier this year.
I just want to protect the integrity of the county.
Clearly, that wasn't the case at this 2012 zoning board meeting. Clark later admitted taking $3,500 in bribes to help a nightclub owner. This time, Clark didn't want to comment on his work for the county, but former district attorney Bob Wilson did.
It's either a crime was committed, which is what it smells like, or someone has played loose and easy with the rules and regulations.
In fact, Richardson broke county policy by hiring Clark at all because it overlapped with his time on the zoning board. And all of that consulting money for youth outreach was paid from the sanitation department's budget.
Oh, it's totally unfair.
Lawrence King says his company is steering clear of work in DeKalb.
It's just not worth the time and the effort.
The CEO's chief of staff refused our repeated requests for an interview. He did give us a statement saying he regrets hiring Clark and apologizes, but claims all laws and DeKalb policies were followed. Now, interestingly, his original statement says he hired Clark in April, then he changed it after we asked about those invoices from February and March.
So, Jody, Lee May's been very vocal about weeding out corruption, cronyism. What is he now saying about this?
Well, he also refused our request for an interview. He sent me a statement saying he's disappointed in how this was handled and that it's not in the spirit in which he expects government to operate, but he said he has no plans to investigate it.
New at 6, the DeKalb County CEO's right-hand man has announced his resignation after a Channel 2 Action News investigation. Our investigation uncovered tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars that he funneled to a zoning official who has since admitted to taking bribes. Investigative reporter Jody Fleischer live in Decatur with the curious timing of the chief of staff's departure. Jody.
Well, Justin, Edmund Richardson initially left his job here at the county in October to go on medical leave. He said he was having stress-related chest pains. Now we've obtained records showing he never intended to come back from that leave. He was under lots of scrutiny at the time because I had just filed new open records requests the day before he left.
After nearly 10 years in DeKalb County government, CEO Lee May's chief of staff and top advisor Edmund Richardson is calling it quits. This brief resignation letter offered no explanation. Richardson left on medical leave October 6th, just days after a Channel 2 investigation exposed how he funneled nearly $25,000 to his friend Jerry Clark for a youth services contract that was never awarded. Clark submitted invoices anyway, and records show he got paid despite almost no work product. Former District Attorney Bob Wilson called it fishy and said it could even amount to bid rigging.
It's either a crime was committed, which is what it smells like, or someone has played loose and easy with the rules and regulations.
CEO Lee May said he was disappointed but would not investigate Richardson's connection to Clark, who later pleaded guilty to federal bribery charges related to a zoning vote. So Channel 2 continued digging. On October 5th, we filed new requests for Richardson's pay stubs and timesheets surrounding 10 weeks of paid leave he used while running for office in 2012. Some of the records indicate he was never docked the time.
I thought it was very unusual then, but we have no one in DeKalb County that we can go to because people who should be investigating these things do not, because they're all friends.
Commissioner Kathy Gannon, who beat Richardson in that election, says the county never investigated. But the day after Channel 2 asked about it, Richardson left, requesting his pension and retirement estimates, which indicates he didn't plan to return.
Well, he wasn't working for the people of DeKalb County. He was working for Lee May and himself, and that is a problem.
Now, a county spokesman told me that the county believes Richardson's 2012 leave was handled properly. Richardson did not return our calls for comment about his resignation. It takes effect January 3rd. Reporting live in DeKalb County, Jody Fleischer, Channel 2 Action News.